every face that stirs your anger, every voice that grates against your calm. They carry more than their own stories. They reflect pieces of yourself you'd rather not see. Carl Jung called this projection the quiet trick your mind plays, casting your shadow onto others. Tonight we pause beside that reflection, not to judge it, but to understand. Because sometimes the hate you feel is only the echo of your own unfinished song. And in that song, there's a chance to listen, to soften, to find the self that lives in every face, even the ones you fear. In the hushed twilight of our consciousness, we embark on a journey deep into our inner world, where the notion of an enemy within quietly resides. This enemy is not the loud antagonist we might anticipate, but rather the keeper of emotions we hesitate to embrace. Within the tapestry of our thoughts, we encounter a web of feelings, disgust, disdain, and animosity, which, though aimed outward, originate from the shadows of our own psyche. Every instance that evokes a fervent sentiment within us is an opportunity to explore those disowned fragments of our identity denied the light of day. This realization opens the pages of a sacred journal that we carry within, where each line is filled with subconscious dialogues left neglected for too long. Through these dialogues, we are prompted to confront an essential question: what truths about ourselves do we obscure by casting shadows on others? Our exploration begins here with intention, as we wade into the depths where our conscious demeanour meets the complex currents of the unconscious. Hatred, a force we often perceive as purely destructive, paradoxically becomes a guidepost, a torch illuminating those parts of ourselves forsaken to the shadows. In our instinctual encounter with hatred, we often mirror the primal urge to protect, yet, in reality, this feeling doggedly points to uncharted territories within. Acting as a beacon in the darkness, hatred exposes concealed wounds and silent desires masked by emotional reactivity. With selective perception, we navigate the world, imprinting the people and experiences around us with labels born from unconscious scripts. When feelings of disgust or anger arise, they frequently reflect unowned desires or shame, cleverly disguised. Thus, this intense emotion invites us to pause and ask which fragments of the self demand recognition and healing. In transforming this vehement energy, we embark on a journey of discovery and eventually comprehension. Often regarded as a protective mechanism, disgust acts as a shield against perceived threat. In interpersonal connections, however, this response can reveal emotional resistance to traits within ourselves that we have deemed intolerable. Disgust directed toward another generally suggests not a lack in them, but rather traits buried in our own narrative, refused acknowledgement. This emotion speaks an ancient dialect, hinting at the rifts in our identity until we choose to understand them. Each occurrence that provokes disgust is an invitation to journey beyond discomfort into deeper emotional territory. What we criticize in others often mirrors our own hidden aspects, be they suppressed envy, shame masquerading as repulsion, or unclaimed potential that alarms us. Understanding this emotional discourse begins a conversation with parts of the self we have long hidden, allowing us to unravel our internal conflicts. Anger arises with fiery immediacy, a visceral response to perceptions of injustice or betrayal. It may explode vocally or simmer quietly, echoing within internal dialogues. Yet beneath its harsh exterior lies an opportunity for profound insight. When stripped to its core, anger becomes a lens through which we might discern unmet needs, relinquished power, or tender vulnerabilities we shy away from. In revisiting anger, pathways into deeper realms of the psyche are revealed. We discover that beneath this fervour lies a call to reshape our narrative, rethinking past instances of violation or invisibility. Anger, when allowed to illuminate rather than consume, holds the possibility for transformation, guiding us toward reclaiming personal power and emotional clarity, an evolution from reactive to proactive self-realization. Among the intricate designs of our psyche lies displacement, a defense that redirects feelings meant for one person onto another. Although not immediately visible, it influences our interactions, casting a veil over the sources of our animosity. Through displacement, we fleetingly evade the difficult work of confronting our inner challenges or unmet desires. As we delve through this dense mist, we encounter questions that test our accepted narratives. From whom do these feelings originate, and why are they being redirected? Untangling displacement involves peeling back layers until the core event or relationship appears, a journey of retrospection that fosters healing through enhanced self-awareness and more sincere relational dynamics. Repression acts as the invisible architect of our psychological landscape, sheltering truths about ourselves that we cannot yet face, constructing barriers out of necessity. These repressed elements, in turn, cast shadows that silently influence our behaviours and perceptions. When a disdainful encounter evokes deep emotion, these hidden facets emerge, driven by a need to be acknowledged. To navigate this defence mechanism is to understand its role in allowing functional awareness while complicating self-acceptance. While repression shields us from the rawness of our humanity, it also prolongs the journey towards self-actualization, urging us to open dialogues with these buried aspects, leading them from obscurity to the gentle light of conscious integration. Inner conflict might appear as weakness, but within its tension lies great wisdom, a signal of unresolved aspects yearning for unity. This challenge encourages introspection, akin to deciphering a riddle, unlocking insights along the way. Engaging with this silence invites a dialogue that harmonizes internal discord, creating pathways to emotional equilibrium. Our identities are intricate compositions of narratives and beliefs, yet tucked within these stories are shadows, unacknowledged parts opposing our public persona. Embracing these shadows can empower us, revealing creativity and strength that has been overlooked. Through this exploration, we enrich our self-awareness by inviting the rejected parts to integrate, rendering our narratives more authentic and resilient. Each step allows our understanding of self to blossom into wholeness and true self-awareness. In the gentle quiet of introspection, let us wander into the landscape of projection, a concept illuminated by Carl Jung as a gentle lens through which we glimpse the parts of ourselves we have veiled in shadows. Imagine a scene where every criticism or judgment cast upon others reflects not an absolute truth, but a mirror softened by our own disowned traits. This projection acts as a mystical dance, allowing us to place our unresolved conflicts gently onto the world around us. It whispers that the walls upon which we cast our shadows remain untouched, yet these shadows shapeshift, reflecting the unseen play of inner light. Within this revelation lies not condemnation, but an invitation to profound understanding of our psyche. Imagine a world where, as Jung suggests, what remains unacknowledged within becomes our destiny. Our unspoken facets take form in interactions, gently guiding us to perceive our sorrows and joys as external echoes. the world becomes a tapestry of mirrors, each encounter an opportunity to turn judgment into self-reflection. What we see in others is but a refraction, a blurred essence of our own unclaimed attributes. Embarking on this path of reflection nudges us from blame towards a softer light of compassion and self-discovery, facilitating a silent dialogue with the world around us. The concept of the shadow, as Carl Jung gifted to us, speaks to the collective weight of our hidden facets. Through these webs spun with projection, our criticisms become manifestations of our unintegrated selves. The shadow, while often cast as a repository for negative traits, also holds a reserve of untapped creativity and potential yearning to be acknowledged. Consider the fiery glance of disdain at a colleague's ambitious strides. Perhaps it unveils a fear of claiming one's own space, or a forgotten dream of authority. By recognizing the shadow within these silent exchanges, we can begin to weave back the dissonant parts of ourselves into a harmonious whole. As we stand before the emotional mirror, it reflects back the landscapes we dare not traverse. Each figure that unsettles us becomes a guidepost, urging us to press pause and ask what reflection we see. It's a signal that whispers of deeper layers, of terrains yet uncharted within. The emotional mirror does not merely reprimand, it invites curiosity and introspection. Each frustrating encounter is not a barricade but a threshold, leading inward past the veil of consciousness. The art of projection, as a reflection of our unmet desires, positions judgments not as arrows, but as painted windows to our hidden longings. Their clarity, a paradox. Within what we criticize, we often lay bare an unfulfilled truth within. In opposing another's ostentatious light, perhaps lies a yearning to own our own forgotten spark. By unveiling these desires with gentle truth through self-compassion, we peel away the layers, veiling who we long to be. In this, judgments transform from barriers to bridges, linking us to a more authentic, vibrant existence. Along this path, projection tends to forge a false self, a mask sewn from what we choose to reject. It obscures the tapestry of our truth with others' traits painted upon our canvas. Projection, rather than nurturing this illusion, bids us look within, freeing ourselves from the entanglements of unclaimed aspects. Long reliance on these illusions leads to a silent estrangement from self and others, cutting the threads of genuine connection. By bravely encountering our projections as stepping stones, we can dismantle erected facades, allowing authenticity to blossom and unfurl with integrity. The defense mechanism of projection erects barriers, blocking self-awareness by casting our failings outwardly. This temporary shield protects against anguishing self-knowledge, yet hints softly at unaddressed inner monologues seeking resolution. Personal growth demands we examine these projections with honesty and openness. The urge to critique others reveals unspoken dialogue within ourselves. In these moments of unease, we recognize an opening, inviting a transformation where judgments become a laurel, not a burden, leading to deeper insight. Our journey through projection is also a gateway into shadow work. These projections call out from the depths, laying bare the path to untravelled worlds within. To embrace shadow work is to tenderly explore the unclaimed, engaging with courage in a dialogue with what lies beneath. It is to touch with gentle reverence the layers that projections shielded, turning pain into a pathway illuminated by the light of self-acceptance. Beyond the maze of projection lies an invitation to wholeness. This is the realm where we no longer draw lines of separation, but flow towards embracing all our facets, transforming shadows into sources of inner growth. The journey is one of grace, a call to radical acceptance of each texture in our mosaic. It asks us to let go of casting blame into the ether and turn towards honouring the richness of shared human experience. With integration, we let go of projection, instead embracing each encounter as a chance for enlightenment, wholeness, and compassion. Let this introspective voyage into projection stir transformation, a continuous gentle unravelling into self-discovery. As we tread softly, we dissolve shadows, allowing moments once seen as reflections of others to evolve into a dialogue within, where projections become lanterns illuminating the inner journey. Our lives, entwined with each step of understanding, reveal not only the mysteries of projection, but invite too a deeper communion with the entirety of our being. In the quiet moments when we recoil from something or someone with visceral intensity, we witness the first fracture in our inner mirror. It's more than an emotional ripple. It's the nudge of forgotten whispers within us. This is where our tangled web of past experiences and buried emotions twist into knots, marking these places as distasteful parts of ourselves projected onto the world around us. Yet within this initial crack lies a hidden treasure, a chance to illuminate the shadowed hallways of our deeper self. Imagine this fracture as the delicate lines spidering across porcelain, hinting at a possible shattering between who we know ourselves to be and who we unknowingly hide. At this juncture, consciousness peers through the cracks, revealing vaults of emotion thought to be locked tight. Instead of turning away from these moments of discomfort, meet them with curiosity, seeing them as gateways to something profound. Each aversion is not a rebuff, but a silent invitation, an opening to unearth our emotional legacy and move beyond the conditioned traits that shape our interactions. Behind the mask of intense aversion lies a fortress built with bricks of unresolved fears and unclaimed yearnings. Anger here acts as a primal signal, alerting us to threats that reside in the depths of our psyche. When anger swells to reactive proportions, it becomes a storm, masking the vulnerabilities that lie beneath. Encountering it with mindfulness transforms conflict into an essential dialogue, a conversation the shadow yearns for. In these moments, the shadow morphs from adversary to companion, revealing pockets for profound self-discovery and healing. The faintest echo within our psyche, envy, serves as the hidden marker of unacknowledged desires. It whispers through the haze of disdain, highlighting what we perceive in others, but deny within ourselves. Instead of animosity, see envy as a map to forgotten passions. Engage with it, not with dismissal, but with thoughtful curiosity, allowing it to guide us inward where undiscovered talents shy from the light. In acknowledging envy, relinquish judgment and see it instead as a signpost, illuminating the vast potential for change that stretches beyond current perceptions of self. Another shadow emerges from the cracks: shame, a powerful force that distorts self-perception. It runs deeper than simple guilt, attaching its claws to our very identity. Shame whispers with dark assurance that our worth is blemished by flaws. In exploring shame, courage is demanded. We confront stories woven into our self-concept by our histories and societal mirrors. Yet it's in this brave theatre that authenticity blossoms. Shining compassion on these shadows transforms shame from indictment to expression, and in acceptance, we find the alchemy for self-compassion and renewed narratives. Fear, another formidable force pursuing us, often takes the guise of aversion. It stands as both guardian and deceiver, paralysing with its whispers. It nurtures the preference for distorted lenses through which we view others. Yet, behind its shroud lies untapped potential, waiting for brave discovery. Embrace fear, for beneath its intimidating facade lies not only survival, but strategies for thriving. This confrontation imbues life with clarity and allows fear to stretch from barrier into teacher. Behind aversions lie longings silenced by societal whispers or our own whispered doubts, desires relegated to the shadows with dreams untread. Recognizing these desires involves confronting views on worthiness and possibility. It invites us back to authenticity, honouring them even without immediate existence. In doing so, we rediscover quiet passions, witnessing them transform into creativity and vitality, inspiring the powers hidden within fears we've long avoided. Intertwined within these experiences are echoes from our ancestral lineage, shadow imprints inherited and absorbed without awareness. Past traumas and stories filter into the now, framing reactions and life scripts without our consent. Embrace the wisdom alongside the weight of these shadows, discerning elements that propel growth from those that chain us to bygone shadows. By peeling back layers to encounter these echoes, we engage in a journey of healing that spans generations, carrying forth the torch of both resilience and transformation. At the heart of it all, each crack surfaces as a call to vulnerability. This summons asks us to face reflections that, while frightening, invite understanding and wholeness. The courage to stand bare, exposed yet brave, merges dichotomous aspects of self into harmony. Light with shadow, fear with love, strength with gentleness. Vulnerability then becomes the sacred language between all parts of self. It isn't a meekness but a pathway to connection, an embrace of interconnected humanity. Through this soft surrender, we forge resilient truths within, liberating self and soul in a tender renaissance of individual wholeness. In the quiet spaces between our thoughts, shadows ripple outward, whispering through our lives as waves on a still pond. These are the echoes of the unacknowledged self, calling us to notice the dance of projections that shape our interactions. The traits we tuck away, the parts of ourselves we refuse to recognize, resonate with similar echoes in the souls around us, drawing us into relationships that replay ancient stories of unhealed wounds. It's more than a coincidence. It's an unconscious tapestry, weaving us together, urging us to confront our hidden selves. Amongst groups, this dance deepens. We gather intuitively with those whose unspoken struggles mirror our own, conjuring a stage where our disowned selves perform, reflecting our deepest, unvoiced parts in a shared silence. These reverberations are not silent. They are an active force beckoning recognition. Our projected emotions, anger, fear, disdain, find their resting place in others who harbour similar burdens, creating a symphony of mirrored emotions. This resonance amplifies our feelings, crafting connections that are either profound or turmoil-bound. When two shadow-laden souls encounter each other, they often unconsciously create bonds that perpetuate unresolved issues. Yet within this whirlwind lies an opportunity, a chance to discern the distinctions between what belongs to us and what belongs to others. By observing these interactions with a mindful eye, insights emerge into how our shadows long for expression and communion. Breaking free from the cycle of our emotional contagion first requires an intuitive recognition of recurring patterns. An aversion or attraction often signals a shadow at play. Such awareness demands self-reflection that penetrates beyond raw emotions. It begins with noticing an inexplicable intensity, be it love or hate, demanding our attention. These emotions are the universe's insistence that we face our unresolved aspects lingering in the shadows. By tracing these resonances back through the tapestry of our past, childhood, culture, early experiences, we gradually unveil unmet needs and unacknowledged emotions. Through practices of journaling or gentle inquiry, we peel away the layers cloaking our true selves, allowing us to disengage from the automatic dance of projection and reaction. Our shadows cast a net across societies, manifesting within cultural narratives and societal norms that exalt certain traits while suppressing others. Here, people become heirs to a collective emotional contagion. Historically, groups cast their shadow aspects onto the other, fostering cycles of prejudice and conflict. These collective projections attempt to unify by placing disowned traits onto outsiders, yet they sow fear and division. Observing these societal projections enlightens us on interconnectedness, reflecting how individual healing is woven into dismantling larger patterns of separation. As these cultural shadows pervade media and tradition, we begin to dismantle the walls of us versus them, piecing together a tapestry of understanding over fragmentation. In this spacious awareness, relationships begin to mirror pathways of self-discovery, reflecting our hidden psyches. Friction in emotions, irritation, jealousy, or animosity opens windows into our shadowed realms, with intimate relationships acting as potent mirrors. Instead of viewing conflicts as purely external, they become opportunities to explore our internal kaleidoscope. Through reflective dialogue and introspection, we unravel our psyche's intricate layers. This not only heals relationships, but sharpens the authenticity of how we present ourselves, moving us beyond repetitive cycles of projection. Relationships often attract us to the echoes of shadow, where unacknowledged elements pull us toward our complementary imbalances. Partners and friends often bear unseen energies that stir our subconscious into awareness. When shadows resonate, they prepare fertile grounds for either healing or persistent conflict. Conscious awareness of these resonances enables curiosity in relationships. By observing attractions or repulsions, not as mere personality byproducts, but as reflections of shadow, we gain deeper insights into our internal landscapes, transforming relationships into spaces of growth and evolution. Conflicts arise when shadows converge, speaking through the friction of anger, frustration, or disdain. These charged emotions carry insights waiting for reflection. When intensity lessens, reflection unveils the roots fueling emotions, moving from blame to understanding, creating pathways for healing. Harmony arises in recognizing and embracing shadows in compassion. As we approach shared shadows with empathy, our relationships flourish, drawing tension towards deeper integration, unity, and authenticity. These transformative encounters, where shadow melds with another's consciousness, serve as catalysts for self-realization. By pushing our comfort boundaries, these interactions invite explorations of the inner landscape, recognizing transformative potential in discomfort aligns us with our evolutionary journey, guiding us to welcome change with courage and curiosity. Through this alchemical process, the psyche transforms into wisdom. To break free from emotional contagion cycles is a conscious endeavour of awareness and practice, where shadows influence our emotions and relationships. Observing reactions opens transformation spaces. Through meditation, reflection, or therapy, we gain clarity on inherited patterns, transforming impulses from reaction to response. By integrating shadow aspects, their influence diminishes, freeing us to engage authentically with others in conscious, harmonious relationships. In conscious awareness lies the journey of liberation from unconscious behaviour. Mindfulness attunes us to psyche patterns, empowering responses aligned with authenticity. By embodying awareness, we awaken personal and communal transformation ripples, contributing to collective insight and interdependence. Through this awareness, emotional contagion turns to empathy, paving a path to harmonious interactions and a world marked by compassion and unity. The echoes of our shadows, once seen as turmoil, transform into a crucible for inner alchemy, inviting us to embrace this journey towards authenticity and connection. In the silent dance of human interaction, it is often the body that speaks the first word, revealing what the mind cannot yet articulate. When we stand in the presence of someone who stirs something dark within us, our bodies become the stage upon which our unspoken stories unfold. A tightening heart, a faltering breath, the clench of muscles. These are not just biological responses, they are echoes of our deepest emotional history, whispers of the shadow lying dormant within. Like ancient sentinels, these physical cues stand guard over the vaults of our hidden selves, each sensation a key to the secrets we keep locked away. In this delicate interplay of body and mind, we are invited to shift from judgment to gentle observation. Rather than succumbing to the discomfort others provoke, we can choose to remain present, to listen to the body's silent language. A tightening chest might murmur of hidden fears. A sudden rush of heat might expose the simmering remains of long-forgotten anger or embarrassment. Each sensation, every flutter or flinch, serves as a map, guiding us back to parts of ourselves long abandoned. Recognizing these bodily reactions allows us to begin the journey toward a more integrated self, where awareness blooms and shadows soften in the light of understanding. As we embark on this voyage of introspection, a tapestry of somatic signatures unfurls before us. Just as one might read the stars to chart a course, so too can we decipher the language of the body. Each nuanced expression offers a window into our emotional landscape, a map tracing the paths of unacknowledged fears, desires, and traumas. A quickening pulse, a constricted throat in moments of tension, each is a poignant emblem of an emotional history seeking revelation. By pausing and engaging with these sensations, we initiate a dialogue with our subconscious, unravelling stories written in the flesh and bones. In this quiet conversation with the body, we discover a somatic pull, a gravitational force that draws our attention inward. It is as if the body, through its unspoken choreography, beckons us to attend to the shadow lurking beneath the surface. This pull often manifests around those who mirror the traits we struggle to own within ourselves. The overly assertive colleague stirs our buried resentment. The unshakably confident acquaintance reminds us of stifled potential. Here, the body's response becomes a compass, pointing the way toward the unfinished work of integration. Engaging in a dialogue with the body requires a deliberate stillness, a quiet space where the mind relinquishes its usual dominance. In this sacred stillness, the body's wisdom emerges, rooted in lived experiences coded into muscle memory. Holding patience as we listen to the heartbeat's rhythm or the breath's gentle flow, we allow each signal to reveal its hidden truths. Instead of confronting these messages as adversaries, we embrace them as trusted guides. We inquire about the origins of our tension, ask our anxiety what it fears, and invite our frustration to articulate its unmet needs. This compassionate engagement fosters a deeper self-awareness, nurturing the reconciliation of our fragmented selves. Patterns and repetitions in our body's responses often act as fingerprints of the shadow, unique yet universal. Noticing these patterns, such as shrinking inward during authority interactions or feeling a palpable urge to escape during conflict, illuminates recurring themes. By tracking these sensations alongside our thoughts and emotions, we unveil the interconnectedness between the body's signals and the mind's narratives. This awareness empowers us to break the cycles that bind us, offering profound insights into unresolved issues and guiding us toward liberation and transformation. In this journey, the body serves as a guiding star, an unwavering beacon through the darkest corridors of our psyche. Amidst the chaos of emotional turmoil, the body remains a steadfast ally, offering clues and insights the conscious mind might overlook. Trusting the body's intuitive guidance involves relinquishing the need for control and opening ourselves to its mysterious wisdom. In doing so, we are gently led away from false identities forged in the fires of rejection toward a more authentic and unified self. Cultivating somatic awareness becomes an invaluable tool in the intricate dance of relationships. The body's reactions are a barometer for our internal landscape, revealing unspoken truths. By paying attention to these responses during interactions, we gain insights into relational dynamics and the subconscious beliefs that drive them. Noticing a quickened heartbeat or a sinking feeling alerts us to simmering truths, awaiting acknowledgement. This awareness reshapes our connections, transforming potential triggers into opportunities for growth and empathy. In moments of intensity, the breath stands as a timeless anchor, a bridge between the conscious and unconscious realms. Through the rhythm of our inhalation and exhalation, a dialogue unfolds between the known and the unknown. On each inhale, we draw inward, creating a space for introspection. With each exhale, we release the grip of reactivity. This dance with the breath invites the shadow into the light of awareness, fostering transformation and acceptance. Ultimately, acceptance becomes the alchemical force that weaves our inner and outer realities into a coherent tapestry. In the realm of shadow work, it transforms the fragmented into the whole. Acceptance is not passive, but an active embrace of what is, acknowledging the shadow as a vital part of ourselves. By surrendering control and embracing vulnerability, we allow the shadow to reveal its gifts, accessing resilience and wisdom. This embrace invites us to reclaim our entirety, transforming shadows into the light of an empowered presence. In the quiet recesses of our minds, judgment begins as a delicate murmur, gently guiding us through the chaos of our surroundings. We carve the world into binaries, right and wrong, us and them, transforming this quiet whisper into a defining feature of our identity. Like ancient stone walls, these judgments rise invisibly around us, crafted from insecurities and fears we dare not name. Our judgments, often directed at others, are reflections of the disowned parts of ourselves, the shadows we are too afraid to acknowledge. Over time, these judgments settle and harden, layering like sediment until they're as much a part of us as our breath. We find comfort in the certainty they offer, a fragile shield against the unknown. Yet, judgments, rigidly held, also forge chains, binding the ever-changing self to a static, unyielding script. With each whispered, "I am not like them," we construct invisible walls that separate us, denying the profound interconnectedness of human existence. We craft a narrative where our identity hinges on opposition, a lonely fortress built to keep vulnerability at bay. Certainty in judgment presents itself as an unwavering fortress, a seeming refuge in the face of life's unpredictability. It masquerades as confidence, yet beneath it lies a delicate fragility, a fear of confronting our own complexities. We cling to judgment like a lifeline, unaware that it conceals a vast ocean of possibilities, each wave offering a chance to explore and transform. Within this rigidity lies our greatest paradox. The more we cling to certainty, the more we shy away from the fluid dance of introspection that leads us toward our true selves. To begin unravelling these chains, we must first illuminate the illusions they create. Observing our judgments with gentle curiosity reveals them as reflections of fragmented beliefs and experiences rather than immutable truths. As this awareness dawns, our judgments, like ice under the sun, begin to melt, unveiling the rich landscape of our psyche that was hidden beneath. This journey is not swift, but a patient, meticulous undoing of long-held narratives. When we allow curiosity to guide us, we open ourselves to the possibility of new perspectives, encouraging empathy and understanding to take roots in the fertile ground of our awareness. This choice is ours to make, to remain entrenched in the comfort of certainty, or to bravely venture into the lively unpredictability that lies beyond. Compassion becomes our vessel, a gentle balm for the wounds inflicted by harsh judgment. Embracing this tenderness, we learn to view our judgments as echoes of unhealed parts of ourselves, inviting these shadows to grace us with their truthful presence. Under compassion's gentle gaze, remnants of judgment dissolve, replaced by a tender acceptance of the self in all its flawed, magnificent entirety. This acceptance nurtures psychological growth, allowing the shadow to weave itself into the fabric of our being. Freed from the chains of judgment, we embrace the harmonious dance of self-discovery. Our identity, unshackled, reveals itself as a fluid mosaic of contradictions and complexities, a tapestry woven from the threads of our ongoing journey. We dare to confront our shadows, not as adversaries, but as intrinsic elements of our being, woven into the grand, luminous tapestry that is our soul. Releasing the notion of judgment as identity opens a vast space where growth and integration can flourish. Here, judgments transform from final judgments into invitations, doorways to introspection and self-discovery. In this openness, the shadow stands revealed, unburdened by judgment, allowing new insights to emerge and enrich our understanding of self and others. In this sacred space, we become the architects of our evolution, crafting identities rooted in awareness rather than division. Through the integration of shadow elements, we experience a profound wholeness transcending the binary judgments that once governed us. By redefining judgment as a tool for discernment, we navigate the intricacies of life with newfound clarity and compassion. In this rich inner landscape, we honour the interplay of light and shadow, embracing both as essential elements of our being. To support this journey, we can nurture practices that cultivate awareness and presence. Meditation and mindfulness serve as gentle anchors, inviting us to observe our judgments without attachment. Through journaling, we articulate and unravel the narratives surrounding our judgments, allowing introspection to guide us. Engaging in open dialogue, we challenge our assumptions, fostering empathy and curiosity in our interactions. These practices nurture discernment, enabling us to perceive life through a lens informed by compassion rather than rigid judgment. As we let go of judgment's constraints, we invite authenticity into our relationships, forging connections unmarred by division. Embracing non-judgment does not mean abandoning discernment, but rather perceiving others as complex, nuanced beings. This openness deepens our understanding, fostering empathy and respect, and allowing us to celebrate the shared humanity that connects us all. Through non-judgment, we glimpse the profound interconnectedness of human experience, enriching our relationships in the process. Thus, judgment transforms from a barrier into a gateway, leading us to insights that illuminate the path toward greater self-awareness. By reframing judgment as a catalyst for growth, we discover the hidden truths held within. Embracing this perspective allows us to engage in profound self-discovery, freeing the wisdom needed to guide us toward holistic understanding. As we journey toward this wholeness, we integrate light and shadow, transcending judgment's limitations to embrace the fullness of our existence. Through growth and integration, we awaken to the truth that the journey itself is the destination, brimming with the potential for self-authorship, transformation, and endless exploration. Resentment, a silent beast, weaves itself through a tangled web of past experiences and unmet needs. It doesn't spring forth in isolation, but roots itself in the shadows of fear, disappointment, and rejection. These muted emotions build a porous barrier, one that allows only antagonism and hatred to seep through, while the psyche clutches old wounds close. Like slow dropping water on stone, these feelings, left unobserved, carve deep recesses of resentment within us. Anger then becomes both a cry and a shield, an instinctive guardian of our most fragile parts, alerting us to the perceived injustices and powerlessness lying beneath fiery disdain. Yet it is beneath this defensive veil where pain truly resides. Each surge of rage, each rush of resentment, hints at suffering buried so deep it barely scratches our consciousness. Instead, this pain dictates the way we see others, masking itself as right and reason. Rage thus transforms, not into chaos but into revelation, when examined without fear of what lies underneath. In that molten core of anger, old defences melt away, allowing vulnerability to rise, and with it, the first tender steps toward healing. This is not merely destruction, but insight, a pathway to where hurt must first reckon with truth before finding peace. To understand these emotional signals requires mindfulness and reflection. The sudden swell of anger or stab of fear can speak to a need for validation or reveal self-doubt misjudged as strength. Anxiety, a relentless drumming of unease, crumbles into the tremors of unmet safety. Observing these patterns allows us to retrace the steps of contempt toward unseen wounds, recognizing that anger is often just the visible crest of a far deeper sea. Mindful reflection illuminates these emotional signatures, encouraging us to engage with the fragments of ourselves we've long ignored. In the realm of contempt, fear surfaces as an ancient protector of vulnerabilities we dare not show. The disdain we project often cloaks unmet needs and breaches of trust long buried. Hidden in this emotion, encased in its cold superiority, lies a tale of loss and longing for understanding. Beneath contempt is the invitation to wear vulnerability not as a weakness, but as dedication to knowing oneself. A delicate yet powerful gift that allows true acceptance. Vulnerability, intimidating in its rawness, becomes the key. Antidote and medicine that, when embraced, transforms contempt into compassion. But within this tapestry of redemption, self-rejection lurks as a harsh critic, poisoning the well of self-worth. By casting judgment onto others, we unwittingly reflect the parts of ourselves left unaccepted and neglected. And so the shadows accumulate, entrenching us in cycles of external conflict and internal silence. Yet from this silence, a voice beckons, a call for self-recognition that tenderly lifts these parts into the light of understanding. In acknowledging our imperfections, we diffuse the hostility directed both inward and outward, replacing it with the language of empathy and transformation. Embedded within that armour of pain is a story yearning to be seen, heard, and understood. Just beneath each bruise and scar lies an ancient plea for communion. As we disassemble these protective barriers and surrender to self-compassion, pain ceases to be an adversary, emerging instead as a teacher. Each ache and thorn cloaks profound lessons in resilience and empathy, leading us away from the shadows toward the light of self-forgiveness. From this place, we cultivate a broader compassion that transcends the self, embracing the world with open, tender arms. And threading through this journey, unhealed losses linger, echoing across time as both shadow and silent storm. They appear as sharp irritations or dull sadness, haunting the edges of all we hold dear. Whether dreams fallen to dust or loves that slipped away, their presence binds us to past echoes, each pulse a reminder of what was. To confront this pain is not to dwell, but to gently lay it to rest, granting the past its place without suffocating the present. In naming these unattended griefs, we reclaim power and step lightly into the now, weaving past shadows into vibrant tapestries of today. At the heart of fear, often masked by hatred, exists a vibrant potential for understanding. Fear dances slyly with prejudice, casting blame outward instead of calling for introspection within. Yet, in the courageous facing of fear's roots, hatred finds its contours softened, dissolving into newfound comprehension. By embracing fear's wisdom, we align more closely with our authentic selves, transmuting once crippling emotions into fluid, evolving stories of growth and self-discovery. Thus the narrative of pain becomes transformed, not tyrannical, but as a narrator of vital wisdom for emotional evolution. We must shift our perception, from seeing pain as an enemy alien to a silent guide. This journey, steeped in self-compassion, invites a rewriting, pulling past discord through prisms of resilience and grace. Compassionate reflection becomes a gateway, a dialogue between conscious and subconscious, easing once rigid narratives. This dialogue nurtures seeds of healing, turning judgment into insight, pain into profound awareness, and ultimately, anger into the gentle embrace of understanding. On this journey through the vast, shadowy corridors of our psyche, we find ourselves at a sacred crossroads, a chance to engage in dialogue with our projected selves. It is here, in these quiet moments, that the reflections of our hidden fears and desires begin to shimmer like gentle waves in a moonlit pond. We are not here to change those we dislike, but rather to embrace what these feelings reveal about our own being. This dialogue, tender and transformative, gently unravels the cords binding us to shadowy illusions. Carl Jung, a master cartographer of the soul, introduces us to active imagination, a compassionate tool enabling us to converse with the shadow realms. This practice invites us to bridge the chasm between conscious thought and the uncharted territories of our deepest self. It is a meditative dance, allowing the unspoken parts of our being to express themselves freely, like the soft whispers of a breeze carrying tales from long-forgotten lands. Here, imagination transforms into a sacred canvas, where emotions and stories paint vivid landscapes. In this inner dialogue, we craft a sacred space, a serene sanctuary in the heart's embrace. Begin by centering yourself through gentle, deep breaths. Let your eyes close as the world fades to a tranquil hush. Picture those whom you hold aversions towards, not as external adversaries, but as mirrored aspects of your own soul's narrative. Pose questions tender and curious, unraveling the threads of emotion and behaviour. Witness what rises, a symphony of images, words and sensations that tap into an ancient and forgotten language, whispering truths that bypass the bounds of logic. As we navigate these shadow pathways, understanding becomes our guide, a gentle lantern illuminating hidden motivations rooted in fear or unmet needs. In this dance of discovery, hostility melts into compassionate self-recognition. We're not asked to change, but to see with eyes unclouded, to recognise our own conscious role in what was once carelessly projected onto the world. Through this tender grace, the soil of the soul becomes rich for growth and healing, a sanctuary where insights flower into a renewed sense of self-awareness. Embracing the role of an inner witness, we learn to observe the shadow's messages without undue interference. In this silent, respectful watching, we gift our shadow space to breathe and speak. Here, boundaries that once confined us dissolve, whispering the truth of interconnected realities. The dialogue transforms into a flowing river, weaving together strands of wisdom that become threads of a more integrated self. In weaving tales from our encounters with the shadow, we find a solace in storytelling, a sacred act of unburdening the heart. Words spill forth like gentle streams, captured on paper to bridge the chasms within. These narratives serve not only as expressions but as roadmaps, transforming fragmented perceptions into cohesive, healing stories. Through them, insights step from the shadows into light, closing the gap between the conscious mind and its hidden echo. To listen deeply, without erecting walls of defence, requires a courage that opens the heart to discovery. Here lies the gift of expansive acceptance, a willingness to allow what surfaces. This practice unknots the tangled threads of resistance, fostering emotional wisdom with an open, receptive heart. Our dialogue with the shadow then becomes an invitation for profound growth, nurturing connections between the seen and unseen facets of our being. As we embrace the nuanced dance of inner conflict, battle lines soften into harmonious pathways. We acknowledge the dualities of desire and fear that make us beautifully complex. The realization dawns. Conflict doesn't reside externally but weaves its intricate dance within. In kind recognition, the threads of discord are respun into a tapestry rich with wisdom, enriching our journey from turmoil to a peaceful melody of acceptance. Armed with insights from shadow dialogues, integration begins. Each revelation becomes a puzzle piece, reshaping our understanding of who we are. Through continuous self-reflection and compassion, we weaken false dichotomies, allowing a fuller embodiment of the multifaceted self to emerge. This harmonious blend of shadows and light deepens empathy and embraces the vast spectrum of human experience. This journey with the projected self has no final destination, but is an unfurling path of discovery. A dynamic dance between our brightest light and the soothing embrace of our shadow. As we draw this chapter to a gentle close, we invite you to welcome this ongoing conversation as a lifelong companion. In stepping beyond judgment into the realm of curiosity, we nurture endless cycles of renewal. Emerging from this journey, we hold both ourselves and the world in a tender embrace, enriched by a deeper compassion and an ever-expanding awareness. In the quiet recesses of our being, a journey to compassion begins, a gentle invitation inward, asking us to face the shadowy aspects of ourselves that too often project outward as judgments. This exploration, tender and brave, unveils layers of truth. The distasteful traits we so readily assign to others are reflections not of their reality, but of our own hidden depths. As this realization dawns, a space for transformation emerges, where self-compassion unfurls not as a luxury, but as a necessary balm. To truly embrace self-compassion is to meet every fracture of our psyche with an open heart, absent of condemnation. Here lies the challenge, the serene courage to acknowledge that the turbulence we experience is ours residing within. As we learn to hold our former blindness with forgiveness a healing journey unfolds across the vivid tapestry of our experiences. Dancing with our flaws, we discover a peace that softens resistance, guiding us to release harsh judgments and step closer to the grace that authenticity offers. Compassion, born of this tender journey, reminds us of our shared humanity, where the faces we once loathed reveal themselves as fragile reflections of the universal human struggle. In recognizing these imperfections, we no longer encounter adversaries, but fellow travellers along the intricate path of existence. The embers of old hatreds warm to empathy, inviting us to connect deeply with those who provoke our shadows, solidifying a sense of collective vulnerability and unity. In this understanding, the thread of connectedness weaves a profound fabric of compassion and humility. As we begin to forgive others, as we forgive ourselves, every projection becomes a bridge, not a barrier. Hatred, once a prison, now opens doors to empathy, inviting us to redefine our stories within this shared human labyrinth. Our hearts begin to soften, choosing vulnerability over the hardened defences of ego, and embracing the raw, tender reality of our emotions, acknowledging frailty as strength. This softening is a quiet reclamation, a gentle rooting within empathy and understanding. Through this practice, the pursuit of emotional resilience becomes an acknowledgement that behind all hate lies misunderstood pain and fear. Compassion offers kindness to these shadows, transforming the dialogue within. And so emerges a strength, born not of rigid defences but of vulnerability and courage, a step beyond the shadows into the light of genuine interaction. To integrate compassion is to embrace parts of ourselves long hidden in shadows, the aspects we deemed inadequate, even shameful. Such an embrace is more than intellectual. It is an act of emotional acceptance, welcoming these exiled parts back into the fold of our identity. This parts us from societal expectations, encouraging self-authorship and clarity. In this embrace, we embark on self-discovery, delving beyond perfection's mask to the unfiltered truth of our being. This journey transforms hostility into alchemy, purifying emotion to reveal the gold of understanding beneath. As we view our shadow, not as a hindrance but as a growth catalyst, compassion bridges divisions, permitting us to accept the full spectrum of human experience. In this sacred space, anger and resentment transmute to harmony, embracing diversity and complexity within our shared humanity. Projections once externalized dissolve as we turn inward to retrain the mind, offering healing and growth where judgment once held sway. Each dissolved projection liberates us, shifting consciousness to alleviate the burden of judgment, illuminating a path to personal freedom, unifying self and other. As we reframe our narratives, tales of victimhood transform into empathy and unity. This profound re-examination of inner dialogue challenges entrenched beliefs, fostering openness and understanding. With courage and authenticity, we peel back self-deception, crafting narratives that reflect nuanced understanding. This shift towards holistic perception propels us closer to compassion, allowing us to rewrite stories grounded in acceptance. In this expansion, inner acceptance becomes a constant source of strength, transcending external validation. Rooted in self-awareness, this acceptance nurtures resilience, inviting us to face life's tides with equanimity. Liberating ourselves from judgment, we enter an environment of growth and healing, where compassion is the foundation of resilience. Within this embrace, we discover our essence, comfortably alive and poised for profound harmony. Practices for cultivating compassion grow through mindful intention. As we engage in journaling, meditation, and cognitive inquiry, a sacred space emerges, inviting us to observe judgment with detached curiosity. Here, each practice nurtures a gentle understanding of our inner world, cultivating empathy and openness. Finally, as compassion integrates within us, we embrace our wholeness, dismantling the walls that fear and judgment once raised. In this expansive consciousness, compassion thrives, leading us to engage fully with life. As we weave it into our identities, we awaken to an interconnected world, navigating between acceptance and growth, where compassion quietly steers us towards serenity and truth. Here within this enchanted embrace, we find the peace of our true essence, alive with possibility and grace. In the dim corridors of our psyche, the illusion of separation becomes a veil, a smokescreen that conceals the profound truth of our interconnectedness. Ego whispers to us, casting an artificial divide between the internal world and those beyond. Yet, the roots of discomfort or disdain toward another emerge when we recognize the shared shadows they reflect. As Carl Jung suggested, the reflections in others often echo the whispers of our own hidden selves. This journey towards understanding, towards dismantling the ego's barricades, requires a shedding of the idea of separateness, revealing a shared tapestry of consciousness beneath the veneer of individuality. In that tapestry, each person with whom we engage becomes a mirror, holding up forgotten fragments of our own essence for us to confront. The external world ceases to be merely a stage of adversaries and evolves into a realm where every soul, every interaction becomes an opportunity for deeper understanding and growth. Here lies a universe within us, a vast, often untapped landscape, rich with dreams and fears, potentials and unresolved tensions. As we explore these inner terrains, we confront parts of ourselves long avoided, the traumas buried, the emotions unexpressed. Through self-exploration, the boundaries between self and other blur, inviting us to perceive external conflicts as doorways to a more profound understanding of our inner universe. This exploration invites us to embrace the challenges with courage, for the shadows we encounter resemble those we criticize in others, but by approaching them with curiosity and empathy, like trusted friends, we begin to heal. The hidden cracks within us are mended, and the energy once consumed by adversity is redirected towards personal growth. Acceptance builds resilience and wholeness, preparing us to meet life's unpredictabilities with grace and wisdom. When the world around us serves as our teacher, it reveals hidden aspects of our character. Each interaction offers a lesson, a chance to learn about ourselves by recognizing the reflections in others. The arrogance we detest may hint at our repressed self-confidence. The laziness we criticize might suggest a neglected need for rest. Recognizing this transforms the mirror from an instrument of judgment to a tool of empowerment. It reshapes our behavior patterns, fostering patience, empathy, and self-growth that radiates beyond us, touching the collective. Amidst this journey, the need for external validation dissolves. In a world often pegged on societal markers of worth, realizing that true validation begins from within liberates us from dependency. Our self-worth, once tied to fleeting acknowledgements, becomes anchored in personal values and intrinsic strengths. We learn to engage with others more profoundly, freed from self-doubt and external judgments. This autonomy fosters authentic relationships, guided by our grounded, self-affirmed confidence. Our liberation is further deepened through non-attachment, a release from biases and grievances that obscure perception. By cultivating non-attachment, we learn that emotions and experiences, like reflections, are transient. This grants the freedom to experience life authentically, unmarked by external influences. Practicing non-attachment reduces the ego's inclination toward projection, letting us observe our thoughts and interactions with equanimity. This understanding liberates us from identity constructs, allowing peace both within and with the world. As we shift to embrace collective consciousness, our perception transforms. Viewing relationships through this lens acknowledges humanity's interconnected tapestry, transcending the fragmentation where hatred thrives. This engenders empathy, dissolving the walls of isolation and encouraging shared space for healing and growth. It's a shift that acknowledges individual struggle within the larger tapestry of human evolution. Embracing this collective vision illuminates our shared roots, amplifying not only personal growth, but a communal progression towards unity. Inward, an inclusive dialogue of empathy and patience emerges, healing the narrative within. Discomfort and vulnerability, once rejected, become voices of wisdom. By listening to all aspects of self, we shift resistance into acceptance, critique into compassion, honouring emotions as components of our truth. This transformation welcomes impermanence and embraces the ebb and flow of emotions as a cornerstone of existence. As we reconsider adversity, it transforms from a source of distress to a catalyst for profound transformation. Rather than signals of failure, challenges become opportunities for growth, sharpening resilience and adaptability. This reimagining alters our approach to adversity, weaving its lessons into our life narrative, illuminating paths forward and transcending limitations. Adversity, embraced, is an ally, shaping self-awareness and anchoring us to life's infinite possibilities. Ultimately, the journey invites us into wholeness, a conscious commitment to reintegrate the fragmented psyche into unity. This wholeness isn't perfection, but an embrace of imperfections as sacred ingredients of resilience. Here, individuation guides us, bridging shadow and light, and allowing self-authenticity to lead our existence. It's an arduous journey, but the rewards transform fear into courage, insecurity into steadfastness, living in communion with one's truest self. As the journey of shadow work culminates, infinite reflection lights the path. Here, every reflection, encounter and mirror is an invitation for continuous discovery and transformation. Liberated from rigid identities and judgments, we find freedom in openness and receptivity, honouring unity and diversity. This reflection leads not to definitive understanding, but to the unbounded potential for transformation and wholeness, where life's symphony of discovery and exploration invites us once again into the heart of existence. Thank you for embarking on this introspective journey with us. If you found resonance in our narrative, consider liking and subscribing to continue exploring the depths of our shared human experience.